Discovering the hidden facets of the mind of the Middle Ages. What did people in medieval times believe space to be? How did their understanding of the universe compare and contrast with our own? Did they merely consider the stars as ornaments, or did they regard them as divine entities? Travel back in time to the Middle Ages and see how people thought about space back then. Where did their beliefs come from? Was it religion, science, or a combination of the two? Get ready to be astounded by the profound ways in which minds living in the Middle Ages pondered the immensity of the universe. The mind of the Middle Ages did not truly have a sense of outer space in the same way that we do now. When we consider extraterrestrial planetary bodies such as stars, planets, asteroids, and the like, we tend to have an idea of what is in between them, which is typically nothing. It's essentially a void space. There is nothing there to fill the space that exists between the various components that make up the night sky. During the Middle Ages, people had a very different conception of what was going on in the heavens and the various levels of them. The concept that it was just empty space did not really occur to them, or, to be more precise, the models of the universe and the solar system that they inherited from ancient Greece and Rome did not account for such an absence. In other words, the idea that it was just empty space did not really occur to them during this time. The conception of the heavens as a series of spheres that contained within them the planets, stars, and other phenomena of the sky was passed down to the medieval world from classical antiquity. This was the view that the heavens presented to people during the Middle Ages. These spheres were nested within each other and expanded from the very center of the earth outward through the celestial bodies until you reach the outer borders of the tangible universe. They began at the center of the earth and moved outwards through the cosmos. Ancient Greeks, Romans, and medieval astronomers divided the world into the following spheres that ringed the fixed earth and held various objects such as planets, for example. These astronomers worked their way up from the surface of the earth towards the skies. Medieval cosmology. Ptolemy, a Greek astronomer who lived about the year 150 CE, is honored with the concept of the Ptolemaic universe, which formed the foundation of medieval cosmology. In this geocentric paradigm, the Earth was considered to be the immobile center of the cosmos, with the rest of the world being modeled as spheres that revolved around it. Ptolemy's work was found in Aristotle's concept of an ordered cosmos that was split into the sublunary or earthly region, which was changeable and corruptible, and the heavenly region, which was immutable and perfect. Ptolemy's work was a major contributor to the development of the heliocentric model of the solar system. According to Aristotle's theory, there were 55 spheres housed inside the heavens, and the primum mobile, also known as the prime mover or the first movable, was responsible for providing motion to all of the spheres. The Earth occupied the prime position in this model of the cosmos. The sublunary sphere was made up of the fundamental building blocks of the universe: earth, water, fire, and air. The spheres representing the 7 planets, including the sun and the moon, came next in the sequence. Following this, the circle of the fixed stars, which also included the signs of the zodiac, was introduced. In this model, the primum mobile had the most central position. It was sometimes subdivided into 3 spheres consisting of the crystalline heaven, the first movable, and the empyrean, also known as the highest heaven. This cosmology, despite the lack of scientific evidence to support it, was enthusiastically welcomed and altered to fit within the framework of medieval theology. The prime mover was eventually transformed into the Christian God, the outermost sphere evolved into heaven, and the earth became the focal point of God's care. The prime mover caused the spheres to move so that they existed and revolved in perfect tune with one another, giving rise to the phrase music of the spheres. Man, a resident of the sublunary realm, which had been made susceptible to corruption ever since Adam's fall, was unable to hear this music anymore. This worldview was the impetus for further philosophical explanations of man's place in the cosmos that emerged in the Middle Ages. These explanations included the notion of matching planes and the concept of the great chain of being, both of which are prominent in works by authors such as Boethius and Chaucer. Instruments. Astrolabes and quadrants were vital tools for medieval intellectuals, astronomers, and navigators as they explored and charted the heavens. Understanding and interpreting the motions of heavenly bodies was greatly facilitated by these instruments, which also had many practical uses. Astrolabes were complex tools with several uses, including star charts, timepieces, and navigational aids. The sun, moon, planet, and stars were among the most commonly measured heavenly bodies with these instruments. A flat disc with dials, scales, and markings, as well as a revolving arm called the alidade, made up the astrolabe. Time, location in space, and even geographic coordinates may all be determined by aligning the astrolabe with a certain celestial body and taking measurements. The astrolabe's adaptability meant that it could be used for more than only astronomy. Horoscopes and the interpretation of astrological influences on human events relied heavily on their accuracy. In addition, astrolabes were employed in navigation to ascertain a ship's latitude by gauging the height of the celestial body over the horizon. However, quadrants were more straightforward instruments typically employed in astronomical research. A sighting arm or a plumb line was attached to a circular instrument that was either a quarter or a half circle in shape and had degree markings along its curving edge. The primary function of the quadrant was to determine the height of the heavens. Astronomers may measure the zenith elevation of the celestial body by lining up the sighting arm with the body and reading the corresponding degree of the scale. Medieval scholars relied heavily on astrolabes and quadrants, respectively, to learn about and navigate the heavens. It was because of them that astronomers were able to observe the sky, collect data, and improve their knowledge of the cosmos. These gadgets weren't just used in the lab, they were also serving as symbols of the era's dedication to learning and discovery. Astrolabes and quadrants were not just used by academics. These tools were essential for celestial navigation, allowing mariners and explorers to pinpoint their location at sea by studying the stars. Sailors may use the device to determine their latitude by lining up the gadget with certain stars and then taking measurements. Medieval people's conception of space and their location in the universe was inextricably intertwined with their use of astrolabes and quadrants. To better navigate, study, and appreciate the glories of the night sky, these technologies helped bridge the gap between the terrestrial and heavenly realms. They played a crucial role in expanding our understanding of the universe and enhancing our grasp of astronomy. Principle, religious and philosophical viewpoints had a strong influence on medieval beliefs about space. The dominant cosmological viewpoint focused around a geocentric model in which Earth was seen as the center of the cosmos. A combination of Christian theology and ancient Greek and Roman philosophical ideas shaped this understanding of space. The concept of the firmament was important in medieval conceptions about space. The firmament was conceived of being a solid and transparent sphere separating the earthly realm from the heavens. It was thought to be a barrier that prohibited heavenly bodies from impacting or interacting with the earth directly. The firmament was also linked to biblical stories, particularly the account of creation on Genesis. Astrologers were approached for advice in a variety of areas, including medicine, agriculture, and political choices. We hope that you can comprehend how the medieval folks thought. What do you think of their technological advancements? Leave a comment below and remember to like and subscribe to our channel.